it's one of those games where like even though we lost, like I don't know, did you feel like pissed after the game?
No.
Right? It was one of those weird games where like even though we lost the game, like we still left kind of like like hey, like almost more like encouraged that we were like we kept up with them. Like
yeah.
Pretty much like you know what I mean? Like no matter what they kept doing, we kept coming back and scoring on them. And then like we basically ran out of time. Almost felt like it was like a little bit of bad time management by us at the end too.
So the one question I want to ask you is, do you feel that their performance was embarrassing in any way?
Defensively, it made me at least give me the notion of like, even if we don't get home field advantage throughout the playoffs or something, like if we have to go on the road, like this proved that we can pretty much go to toe to toe with anybody, even in their home stadium. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So at least it gave me that kind of like, made me feel good about it. And again, I predicted we were going to win. I was a little bit off. It was my first miss on the predictions this year. But I mean, no, props. We were like this close to winning anyway. So it is what it is. What are you going to do? But again, yeah, I mean, like I said, for some reason, like even after the game finished, it was one of those things where like, damn, we were that close, but it's like I didn't feel like we didn't get embarrassed. We didn't get our ass kicked. I do want to point out the one thing I mentioned in last week's was, remember how I said like that we don't do good against quarterbacks that are able to scramble or like run, and I said I was kind of worried about Brock Purdy because even though he's not known as being a runner, remember I said like he could still scramble, and I'm a little afraid that and look at that he rushed for 28 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, it was pretty embarrassing, that one play where we had him in the backfield and like 2 guys missed the tackle and he ran in and did his whatever the hell that was. I think he's trying to do the Dougie. It looked kind of bad, but but I said it. I'm like, dude, like these quarterbacks that are just kind of shifty in the pocket, we don't do well against them. And he like exposed us, not only running the ball but getting more times to then throw it down the field. So it was just crazy how that first play we get that interception and everything seems like it's going to be our night, and then it seems like after that our defense didn't. Yeah, maybe I think we made them punt once, maybe twice.
That punt that they did was like the first punt they did in like 3 games.
Yeah, they hadn't punted the 2 games before. I mean, that's why like we talked about last week. Like we were worried about their offense. Remember, we're going to have to really like match them, score for score. And I think another problem too is that we kind of fell into this shootout mentality where we didn't do what we said, that we needed to run it and maybe try to run it as much as we did against Green Bay so we can hold the time of possession. But that didn't happen. Like if you look, we only rushed 22 times for the entire game. And partly that was because we were playing from behind trying to match them. But yeah, we never really were able to establish the run. I mean, none of the running backs had 10 carries in the whole game. So even though I think Swift broke that long touchdown run, but besides that, yeah, it seems like we really just kind of threw it. And Caleb had 42 attempts. But yeah, I got no gripes otherwise on the offense. I mean, we kept up, like I said, score for score. Caleb looked great again. I mean, I'm trying to think if he, in this game, maybe if he may have missed like 1 throw that I saw. Yeah. But 2, but other than that, I mean, I thought he played flawlessly, so can't really blame the offense. Like I said, I just feel like it was one of those games where it's like whoever had the ball last was going to win, and unfortunately we just ran out of time.
Did you feel like that, since there's a chance that we might see him again, do you think you feel more confident this time?
Yeah. I mean, I would love for them to have to come to Soldier Field. And again, not saying that they can't, play there, but again, sometimes these West Coast teams coming out and playing in the cold doesn't work out. I mean, unfortunately, I'm sure you'll find a video that you can post here while I'm saying this, but I remember in I think it was 88, I think the Bears had hosted the NFC Championship game against the Niners. and it was supposed to be like below 0, and everyone thought we had the advantage because we're playing at home in the cold, and they like shut us out 28-0. So.
Yeah, I think though that whole like kind of like mystique of like playing in the cold and like, oh yeah, they're coming to us, and like we have the advantage or whatever. But like the truth is that a lot of these players that we have, like, they're transplants. Like, they don't live here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like Caleb Williams didn't grow up here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like,
but I mean. To one thing though that you could tell though is that the one game we saw where it was 10 below 0, Caleb looked like it didn't bother him 1 second. You know what I mean? So like at least we saw that, and it didn't bother the Bears. They actually played fantastic. But to that point though, like in this guy can be another thing we talk about. A lot of people are asking like, what team would you rather face? And I've done a lot of thinking because I don't really want to face San Francisco because, obviously we saw what they're made of, even though, if we played them at home, I think we have a little better chance to beat them at home. But I wouldn't want to play the Rams. And I know a lot of people say they're from L.A., but Stafford played with Detroit for years.
Indoors, though.
Huh?
I mean,
no, that's true. Indoor. In there they did, but I'm saying he played in the NFC North for years, so he played outside and cold. I'm sure he doesn't mind, and they have a really good run game with Kyron Williams and Blake Corum. So I think it travels well even in the cold. The team that I wouldn't mind facing would be Seattle, because I don't think their run game is that great with Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet. And and then Sam Darnold is obviously known to be prone to make some mistakes at key times and stuff, and so I don't know. I guess if I faced Seattle and we were at home, I wouldn't feel as I feel pretty confident with facing them. So I see it was 4 potential opponents. Now it's just 3 because I think we can't play the Rams anymore. Packers,
Rams.
Oh no, Rams and Niners. Oh, so the Seahawks, we can't even face them anymore. So there goes that possibility. So if the Bears lose to the Lions and the Eagles beat the Commanders, then they'll fall to the 3 seed, and they'll face NFC West teams still jockeying. The Rams lost a rough one to the Falcons, which has taken the Seahawks out of opponent contention for the wild card round. Okay, so if the 49ers beat the Seahawks, the Bears will play the Rams in the first round. If it's between the Rams, the Niners, and the Packers, I think I would rather probably play, I hate to admit this, but I probably would rather play the 49ers because we just saw that we went on the road against them and we were like this close to beating them. Mm-hmm. And the Packers, we've already played them twice. They really know us. And if you think about it, both games were so tightly contested. The second one, they were without Jordan Love and kept it close. So, man, I don't know, that's tough. But the Rams would be the least that I would want to face. I think they're going to have Devontae Adams back. And the run game's good, and Stafford's been playing really good this year, obviously, other than the Falcons game.
Just as a fan, to be able to watch these games coming up. And, we had a discussion earlier about, like, my little gripe about, the other side of Bears fans' thoughts. And
I think the problem is everybody seems to take things literally week to week. And I think it's mainly because, like I said, everyone's watching their algorithm on their phone. Everyone's watching, First Take or, whatever show on whatever TV station. And that's what they do, right? Every week the sky's falling, or this is the greatest team ever, or this is the greatest player ever, or, does he suck? And I think some fans just take that too literal. And so it's the same thing with the Bears, right? Like after week 2, we were here saying, is the sky falling? Are we time to panic? Should we fire Poles? And then, a few weeks later, it's like, oh, are we trending the right way? Then we lost to the Packers. People are like, oh, see, like we finally faced, whatever. Then we beat the Eagles. So like, I think what this season's proven is that everything is week to week. And to your point, like we won 5 games last year. We were finding every possible way to lose a game. Eberflus was obviously a terrible coach. We went through 3 coaches, and now we have a little more stability. We hired Ben Johnson running the offense. Caleb looks working.
We were 5-12, right?
Yeah. So I mean,
people forget about that.
Yeah. So I mean, if you look at it, we lost to the Niners. There's no shame in that. We lost to the Packers. on the road. There's no shame in that when Micah was still healthy. So, I mean, honestly, and then, the first 2 games of the season, we blew a lead that we should have won, and then the Lions spanked us. But that goes to another thing is that I've heard a lot of things being talked about this week, right? So, like, you've heard some people say, hey, do you think the Lions might be kind of like
tanking?
Not tanking, but like, hey, did they maybe say, hey, the season's over, and they might come in and like not play as hard? And I don't think that's going to happen. But then you have other people say, well, Dan Campbell's not going to, just go out like that against Ben Johnson. But then, like, the way I look at it is, how do you think Ben Johnson feels? Like, he's their former coordinator. He went to Detroit and we got our asses kicked. So he's obviously going to want to prove something too. So they're not the only team trying to prove something, and we're still trying to fight for something. So I don't know. I think this weekend bodes well for us.
Our head coach got fired like mid-season, you know what I mean? And then like now, it's like completely turned around and like fucking people forget about that, and like people are just like taking this team for granted,
Yeah. No, and then that's another thing is like, obviously, like I've mentioned this too before, is that next year is going to be even bigger because you're going to be able to like maybe add some pieces or some things you might be missing out on. But then I have to also let people know, like, that doesn't necessarily mean, we won. Let's say we win 12 games this year. That means we're going to win 13 or 14. I mean, look at the Commanders this year, right? Like, nothing is promised, right? Mm-hmm. Like, even if the roster is better next year, like, some things might happen, injuries. You never know, right? Mm-hmm. So I think like you said, just appreciate that we're here, enjoy the ride. If we win or lose Sunday, we're still gonna have a playoff game. I think most people would have taken that in a heartbeat if we said, hey, we're gonna host a playoff game at the end of the year. So let's just see what happens. And I've said, hopefully they go far, and if they don't, I wouldn't be devastated either.
Yeah, and I think my takeaway from that game last Sunday was that they didn't embarrass us, right?
Right.
That's the most important part. Like think about it. Like, we could be like the Raiders, you know what I mean? Like completely bottom of the barrel teams. Like, we're not that anymore,
Right.
And I think most of the fans are on the same page with that. Like, they agree. Like, not too many like people are thinking otherwise. But like, yeah, I mean, I think that this year is like such a success that, whatever happens from here on forward, like in this season, like, I think
this season's been a success.
Yeah, obviously, like if they lose and they don't, and we get knocked out in the first round, like it's gonna suck. But like, I think like we can kind of like take a deep breath, that and kind of just be like, hey man, like next year is gonna be good.
Yeah. No, and I think there's enough tape and there's enough proof. I think that I think Poles should be able to see that the biggest thing we need is defensive line help, pass rush specifically, and those are going to be the things that he's going to be, doing homework on in the offseason to try to make the team more complete. But like you said, for now, let's just all we can do is go with what we have, and at least we know we have an offense that can keep up when the defense starts to fall off a little bit. But again, I think that our recipe really is running the ball, because the games that we're able to run the ball, we're able to keep our defense off the field, and then it helps us only allow 13 points, 17 points, or whatever it might be, instead of 42 or 38 or whatever it might be.
You've been seeing the rumors here. What do you particularly think of?
Yeah, see, like the whole Crosby thing. Like I don't get excited anymore, because it seems like every couple weeks there's rumors about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to see like a legitimate rumor. Like, I want to see like Schefter or Rappaport. If one of those guys says, hey, Bears are interested in Crosby, then I'll get excited. But like when it's just some like meme page telling you there's a rumor, or like and like there's no like credibility. Yeah.
Do you think Max Crosby would be a good fit?
I mean,
worth the price.
I mean, it is. I mean, right now, like if you told me what's the one thing the Bears need more than anything, it's a pass rush. And if you can get someone like Crosby, that really changes everything. So, yeah, I mean, right now, they're ready to do it. The funny thing is that, you have some Bears fans who, now conveniently after they win so many games after the trade deadline are like, well, we should have traded for Crosby, or we should have. And the thing is just like, but we weren't there yet. Remember, like we even said, like we're not ready to make that kind of trade. We're only 5-3 or 4-3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if we had a crystal ball, we knew we were going to win 5 games in a row. Then yeah, you do the trade, but we didn't know that was going to happen.
And know that we have like I don't know, the whole abundance of weapons that we have, right?
Well, no, I mean, like I think the main thing to talk about, like we were talking about Poles, and we talked about him the other week too, but it's like without the trade that he makes, like we don't have Caleb, we don't have Caleb, we don't have Luther Burden, we don't have DJ Moore, we don't have a lot of these guys, right? So I'm just saying, like that trade kicked off the ability to build the team that we've built. Mm-hmm. And to your point, our offense, honestly, right now our offense is clicking. So the good thing with that is now Poles can, in this offseason, go, okay, well, that's one thing I feel like I don't have to worry about anymore. Our receivers are good. Our tight ends are good. The offensive line's held up. Now I can focus on, all right, we got to get the defense. We got to get the defensive line, to match the offense.
People always have these ideas about like trading players away or whatever, when like the question is like, why would you do any of these things? You know what I mean? It's like, why, like, since now that we have like a good team, like people just want to just trade players off, and I don't know what you particularly think about that.
Yeah. I mean, to me, you only trade a player if it's going to help your team in return, right? Otherwise, like you don't do it just to do it. And again, all season, this is what we just said about not overreacting to stuff, right? The first couple of weeks, Burden and Loveland weren't being used a lot, and people were like, oh, those are horrible picks. Why are we drafting these guys? They're not playing. And then, look, now they're playing good. Mm-hmm. And then you had Rome Odunze the one time. It was his dad was bitching, oh, he doesn't want to play here. Oh, is there trouble? And then Odunze had like a huge game, right? Mm-hmm. And then it was DJ Moore. We should trade DJ Moore. He's not being used. What's wrong with DJ Moore? And then he got the 2 touchdowns and wins the game. So, like, the Bears have so many weapons right now that it's not going to be one receiver that makes 100 catches. It's going to be, tons of. And I think I wish I had where he got it from, but Chino actually had sent something today where it showed Caleb throwing it to Loveland, Burden, and somebody else, and like the targets, everything is literally almost mirror images. So like, so he basically splits whoever's open is getting the ball. It's not like I'm staring one guy down and trying to throw it to the same guy. So yeah, so of course maybe what the player stats aren't going to look like they did before, but the whole point is you have more mouths to feed, so it's going to be harder to do it.
So that question that people always ask, like one player away, are we that?
I mean, I think we're if one player, it depends who the player, right? So like Max Crosby or what's it called, Myles Garrett, that's one player away because that's somebody who just transforms your defensive line, and now your defense overall becomes better. Your offense is already good, so he's the type of guy that could take you to the next, make you like an actual Super Bowl contender instead of just a playoff team. Let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm. So we would. You would say that we are one player away?
I mean, if it's we're one player away. If it's like Crosby or
it's a question with where you could pick any player like we're whatever player away.
Yeah, I mean I think we're if we're not there, we're close. I mean, I think if we get a Max Crosby, we would at least be considered one of the contenders. I'm not saying we're like the best team in the league, but I'd say we're in the top 5. For sure, top 5 to 10 teams, and like that's a true Super Bowl contender.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's get a prediction for this game.
All right,
given the situation,
is gonna be a good one, man. So I almost feel like I should be a little gun shy after picking the Bears to win, and they lost last week. But man, it's tough because, like I said, I definitely don't think the Lions are going to come here and lay down or like give up. I think they're going to definitely try to win the game. But I feel like the Bears still have a little bit more to play for. I think they want to come back, and the defense wants to show at least a little something after that performance last week. But I do have to tell Bears fans, like, man, definitely don't expect what happened to Detroit last week. I mean, that was insane. Like, I don't think anyone predicted that. But the problem is that the Lions have the recipe that the Bears need, right? Which is they're able to blitz and get pressure. And Jared Goff is not one of the quarterbacks that I mentioned last week. He's not one of the ones who can beat you with his legs, right? He's very good when he has time and when he can play action. So that makes me worry a little bit if we can't get pressure. I feel like we will be able to get to him a little bit. If you watch the Niners game, there was a couple of plays where we get that initial pressure on him, but then these quarterbacks are able to just kind of move out of the initial pressure, and then they beat us. So I think with Goff, since he can't necessarily beat us with his legs, I think that if we get that initial pressure, I think we'll probably get a couple sacks out of him, and then hopefully we can get a turnover or two too. But with that being said, though, prediction: their defense isn't the greatest. Obviously, their offense is pretty good. Our defense isn't that good. Over under 50.5, and I'm going to err with the side of the over, of course. So let's say on this game, I'm going to say Bears 31-23.
Okay.
Actually, let's do 31-24. I don't see that many field goals. 31-24. Full touchdown one.
Okay. Nice. You think so? I think it'll cover. They're +3. They're actually a favorite, -3.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then again, it's probably has to do with them being at home and Detroit being already eliminated. Mm-hmm. But yeah, 31-24. I was gonna dial it back a little, but now let's just keep it 31.
We haven't talked about the Bulls for a little bit.
We should. We should. So, man, there's like good and bad with the Bulls. So, let's see if we can find out where. Go look at their last. Yeah, there you go. So if you look, since we last talked,
They're playing right now.
Yeah, they're playing right now, and they're winning by 3. But here, go up. Since we last talked, the Bears had been like losing a ton of games. I think they had lost the last time we talked. They had just lost the Pelicans game. Yeah. Yep. They had lost the Pelicans game, and we were talking about their upcoming schedule. And I remember saying we're playing the Cavs. I don't see us winning in a while. And then, of course, we beat them twice. Although the Cavs obviously haven't shown to be the same team they were last year. They've had some injuries too. But yeah, we beat them by 16 at home. We beat them by 11 in Cleveland. And then we beat the Hawks. So it's like literally after we just shit on them, they came back and like won 5 games in a row.
They heard you talking shit, man.
Right. So think about it. We started 5-0. Then we went we went 5-0. Then we went 5-10. No, sorry. We went 5-0. Then I think we went 5-15 after that. And then we won 5 more in a row. And then I think here go down. I think we've lost the last 2 games again after that. So yeah, we lost to Milwaukee and we lost to Minnesota. So I mean, Minnesota embarrassed us. But so here's the thing. So it's twofold problem. So the Bulls have just been super inconsistent this year. Defensively, they're not very good. Offensively, they're up and down, and they win some shootouts. But now I think I'm going to be very interested to see. Giddey hurt his hamstring. So he's going to be out minimum of a few weeks. So like what I'm interested in seeing is let's see how good Giddey is making the team. Meaning like without him, let's see how the Bulls run, because now we know that they were 15-17 with Giddey, or he may have missed a game or two, but either way, 15-17. So I'm interested to see if he misses 10, 15, 20 games, how the team is going to do now without him. Who's going to step up? I'm assuming Kobe's going to handle the ball a lot more. Ayo's going to probably handle the ball some too. But it's going to be interesting to see. And then here, go down a little bit. I want to see what their schedule looks like. So they're playing the Pelicans. I don't know what it is with the Pelicans this year. They've already beat us twice. They have like a number. Mm-hmm. Then we play the Magic and at home, then the Hornets at home, then at the Celtics. So that'll be before we do our next podcast. I could see them I definitely could see them beating the Hornets at home, and potentially being the Magic. I don't know. The Celtics are going to be a tough game on the road. So.
Mm-hmm. I overheard you complaining about like the Cubs and not making any moves. You were pretty vocal about that.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, it feels like we've harped on this enough, but do me a favor, actually, because I haven't even looked. I've been so depressed about the Cubs offseason. I haven't even looked in like the last like week 2 since the holidays. But go to a website. Go to MLB TradeRumors.com. So we signed Hunter Harvey. I have no idea who that is. Literally, all they've done is literally sign a bunch of bullpen guys that are, maybe had a good year. They're doing the same thing they did last year, bargain hunting, finding, guys that they can spend a little bit of money on, less than, very little guaranteed money. And it's, like I said, it's just very sad that they spend money like they're like a middle market team, not like they're a big market team. And again, the most frustrating thing is they literally were 1 win away from making the NLCS. They're so close to making it, and then they pull this off. So here, Hunter Harvey, keep scrolling down. Alex Bregman, again, I honestly don't even see what the Bregman thing is for. Like you have Matt Shaw, and he's young and he was playing better last year, and I guess Bregman is an upgrade, but to me, you need some power pitching. Like, that's what they said they were going to go after, and we haven't even done it. Jacob Webb. I mean, literally every signing is a minor league. This guy $1.5 million, the other guy $6 million for a couple of years. Like, that's all they're doing. I mean, and again, I don't Christian Betancourt to a minor league deal. Again, it's just small moves that, again, I don't know. Honestly, I'm like, until they actually start doing any other moves, there's really nothing to talk about. It's just very disappointing that they're really going to expect the team to be better from last year without adding anything. And Tucker hasn't re-signed yet with anybody, but who knows where he's going to end up. And then nothing exciting. And now that was posted December 19th, so there really hasn't been much to talk about. So. And again, we did have the holidays, so I think maybe in the next couple of weeks, maybe you'll hear a couple more things happen before spring training in February. But I'm sure, before spring training or in February, we'll definitely do like a Cubs preview to the season and stuff. So we'll discuss stuff.
Nice.
Well, we know what the Bears' New Year's resolution is. Figure out the fucking stadium. And
oh my God.
And add to the pass rushing. That's their New Year's resolution.
Dude, everybody was like raving about that post that we did, and got a couple of followers from
people. Shout out to the mayor. The mayor of Gary, Indiana, shouted us out, man. Like, well, and we didn't mean that. Like, I want the stadium to be. I still want the stadium to be in Chicago, right? Not in Indiana, but shout out, he gave us a shout out, so shout out to him.
No, I think a lot of the comments that we saw was pretty mixed for the most part. I think people like.
No, it's because the people who live in the South, like South Side or like in that area, they don't mind it because it's closer than coming to Arlington Heights. But then obviously anyone that's in the North or around here, and then some people just don't want the Chicago Bears to play in Indiana.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I feel it's kind of weird. But
no, I mean, you made a really good point. I think as a consumer, you want a place where you want parking and like the amenities that like other teams have that we don't. I want to ask you this. So that whole like lure about like outdoor versus indoor, like what's your personal opinion on that?
See, that's why like I don't think they're going to do it, but I wish the Bears would do a retractable roof, because then I feel like on like if they do like the Super Bowl or if they do a concert, they can close the roof if they want. But then like if you're hosting like the Lions or the Packers in January, you want to be able to open it up and let it snow and be cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that would be my dream, but I don't think it's going to happen. It's probably going to be a regular dome.
Maybe like take a page from like the Bills book or like and.
I mean, that would be cool. But I mean, it looks like they're being cheap even with doing a regular stadium. So